Sawadee Cup. Back to the 4-hour work week. We're getting into the meat and shit, meat and potatoes. Taters and meat. Tater tots. Yes, tater tots. Tim's getting down to like his schedule and how often he checks email and works out and everything. Empowerment failure, rules and readjustment. The vision is really about empowering workers, giving them all the information about what's going on so they can do a lot more than they've done in the past. Okay. Bill Gates. I'm not even going to go there. That guy is a despicable fucking scumbag. Co-founder of Microsoft, richest man in the world. I don't think he is the richest man in the world. I think there's other people who have raped and pillaged people so that they've got more money. Good for them, good for him. Empowerment failure refers to being unable to accomplish a task without first obtaining permission or information. It is often a case of being micromanaged or micromanaging someone else, both of which consume your time. Whether your boss is micromanaging you and getting all up in your business, or whether you're micromanaging instead of delegating. Either way, it's costing you time. For the employee, the goal is to have full access to necessary information and as much independent decision-making ability as possible. For the entrepreneur, the goal is to grant as much information and independent decision-making ability to employees or contractors as possible. Either way, you don't want to be the bottleneck in the flow, right? You don't want lack of information and lack of authority to perform a task to stop you from either doing your job or getting the job done, to an underling, delegating to an underling, and them getting the job done. So I agree wholeheartedly. Customer service is often the epitome of empowerment failure. Personal example from Brain Quicken illustrates just how serious but easily solved the problem can be. 2002, I had outsourced customer service for order tracking and returns, but still handled product-related questions myself. The result, I received more than 200 emails per day. Now you see why he was freaking out about emails, because that's a huge amount. I was a real estate broker and I didn't get 200 emails a day. I got a lot, but I didn't get 200 a day. Spending all hours between 9 to 5 responding to them. Wow. And the volume was growing at a rate by more than 10% per week. So he was drowning. He needed help. That's just why he invented these techniques that he's discussing here in the book. I had to cancel advertising, limit shipments, as additional customer service would have been the final nail in the coffin. Can you imagine being too successful? That's what happened. That's crazy. The company was growing faster than he could handle product inquiries. It wasn't a scalable model. There you go. Huge. That's huge right there. From the beginning, you got to think, how can I make this grow bigger? How can I multiply this by 10, right? Remember we talked about 10x being a big thing. How can I have 10 times the customers and handle it and not fall apart, not break? Remember this word, as it will be important later. It wasn't scalable because there was an information and decision bottleneck. There you go. There's that word. That's a big one. Me. He was the information bottleneck and decision bottleneck. The clincher, the bulk of the email that landed in my inbox was not product related at all, but requests from outsourced customer service reps seeking permission for different actions. There you go. The customer claims he didn't receive the shipment. What should we do? The customer has had a bottle held at customs. Can we reship to a U.S. address? The customer needs the product for competition in 2 days. Can we ship overnight? And if so, how much should we charge? And that's all very reasonable questions that he could have thought of ahead of time and instructed the people how to handle them. So you can see once he says that, right away you're thinking, why was that a bottleneck? Well, because he's human. He made mistakes. It was endless. Hundreds upon hundreds of different situations made it impractical to write a manual, and I didn't have the time or experience to do so regardless. Fortunately, someone did have the experience, the outsourced reps themselves. I sent one single email to all the supervisors that immediately turned 200 emails per day into fewer than 20 email per week. Huge difference in time. Hi all, I would like to establish a new policy for my account that overrides all others. Keep the customer happy. If it is a problem that takes less than $100 to fix, use your judgment and fix it yourself. This is official written permission and a request to fix all problems that cost under $100 without contacting me. I am no longer your customer. My customers are your customer. Don't ask me for permission. Do what you think is right. We'll make adjustments as we go along. So even if they screw up and do the wrong thing with one customer, they'll notify him about their solution, and he'll say, okay, next time try this. It's one customer. It's not going to cost you your whole business. You can change and delegate and give new instructions to your delegees at any time. So most people don't think that. They think it's the end of the world. Oh, if I fuck up, if I make a mistake and I give them permission to do something and it's a disaster, it's one customer. One customer. So you can fix it. That's what he's saying. That's huge. It's important. Upon close analysis, it became clear that more than 90% of the issues that prompted email could be resolved for less than $20. I reviewed the financial results of their independent decision-making on a weekly basis for 4 weeks, then a monthly basis, then on a quarterly basis, because he was seeing that most of it could be fixed for $20, which in the grand scheme of his business was insignificant to his income. It's amazing how someone's IQ seems to double as soon as you give them responsibility and indicate that you trust them. The first month cost perhaps $200 more than if I had been micromanaging. In the meantime, I saved more than 100 hours of my own time per month. Customers received faster service, returns dropped to less than 3%, the industry average was 10 to 15%, and the outsourcers spent less time on my account, all of which resulted in rapid growth, higher profit margins, and happier people on all sides. So, there you go. Once again, he was forced to do something that was unconventional, and it turned out to be a much better solution than the conventional way of doing things. Remember, he went to business school, Princeton Business School, and studied, case studies and business. He started out that way and then found that it didn't work, right? That this was better. This way of doing business was better. People are smarter than you think. Give them a chance to prove themselves. If you are a micromanaged employee, on the other hand, have a heart-to-heart with your boss and explain that you want to be more productive and interrupt him or her less. I hate that I have to interrupt you so much and pull you away from more important things I know you have on your plate. I was doing some reading and had some thoughts on how I might be more productive. Do you have a second? Before this conversation, develop a number of rules, like the previous example, that would allow you to work more autonomously and with less approval seeking. The boss can review the outcome of your decisions on a daily or weekly basis in the initial stages. That's that try it before you buy it concept again. That keeps carping up in this book a lot. Suggest a 1-week trial and end with, I'd like to try it. Try it before you buy it. Does that sound like something we could try for a week? Or my personal favorite, is that reasonable? It's hard for people to label things unreasonable. Realize that bosses are supervisors, not slave masters. Establish yourself as a consistent challenger of the status quo. Most people will learn to avoid challenging you, particularly if it is in the interest of higher per hour productivity. If you are a micromanaging entrepreneur, realize that even if you can do something better than the rest of the world, it doesn't mean that's what you should be doing if it's part of the minutiae. Empower others to act without interrupting you. So even if you feel like you're the only one in the world who could do that particular thing, outsource it, try it, get most of the results with less of the time and effort, and then you're on your way to freedom. You've always dreamed of freedom, of having more time. The reason you started your own business was to have financial freedom and time freedom of choice. And you don't have those things as long as you're micromanaging yourself. It's great to be your own boss, but number one, you have to be accountable to yourself. And number two, you can't micromanage yourself or you'll burn out like he did, because it's not a good long-term strategy. And you're not having fun. You're not having fun and you're not happy. And those two things are huge. All right, I'm going to cut it off here today. I have been asked to do a dating update, and I will. I'll do a video after this on my weight, which is good news. I'm closer to my goal, so working on my goal, I'm closer to it. Lost some weight, and also on what's going on with me with the dating world.